Have you ever made a decision that you still regret today? Have you ever said something you wish you could take back, or lost someone you truly cared about because of a moment of anger? But what if I told you you didn't make the wrong decision that day? Someone else made it for you. Someone you've never truly questioned. Your emotions. The most frightening truth is this: your greatest enemy isn't always out in the world. Sometimes it lives quietly inside your own mind. Today's story is about a man who believed he was always right until one simple question changed his entire life. And that same question might change yours too. So stay with me until the very end, because before this story is over, you may discover something unexpected. Have you been controlling your emotions? Or have your emotions been controlling you? So let's begin. Why do we misunderstand our own emotions? Imagine this. You're standing in front of two doors. Behind one door lies your dream. Behind the other lies a decision that could change your entire life. Which door would you choose? You'd probably say, the most rational one. But what if I told you that, in that moment, your decision wasn't made by logic at all? It was made by something you consider your closest ally. Your emotions. The real question is, do you truly understand your emotions? Or have you spent your entire life handing the steering wheel of your future to an invisible driver who keeps leading you in the wrong direction? Today's story is about one man, but as you listen, you may slowly realize it's actually your story too. Arab had always been a brilliant student. Ever since childhood, everyone believed he was destined for greatness. His teachers admired him. His family was proud of him. His friends looked up to him. But there was one thing no one noticed. Not even Arab himself. He believed he was a highly rational person. Whenever he got angry, he thought his anger was justified. Whenever he felt afraid, he believed the danger was real. Whenever someone disappointed him, he assumed the other person was entirely at fault. Have you ever felt the same way? That you were never wrong, and everyone else was? Maybe that's where our biggest mistake begins. Most people believe they know themselves. But here's something strange. We can easily recognize anger, fear, or sadness on someone else's face. Yet, when those exact same emotions arise inside us, we immediately accept them as truth. We rarely stop to ask ourselves, is what I'm feeling actually true? Think about this. Imagine walking through the darkness at night and mistaking a rope for a snake. Wouldn't your heart start racing? Wouldn't your hands begin to shake? Wouldn't fear feel completely real? Of course it would. But what happens the moment someone turns on the light? You realize there was never a snake. The fear was real, but the reason behind it was false. Our emotions often work in exactly the same way. The biggest turning point in Arab's life came during his university years. He had been working on an important project for months. He believed this project would define his future. Presentation day finally arrived. During his presentation, one of his classmates made a simple comment. Your idea may not be as strong as you think. Just one sentence. But inside Arab's mind, it exploded like fire. He instantly thought, he's insulting me. He wants me to fail. Everyone must be laughing at me. Wait a second. Did his classmate actually say any of those things? No. Those words came from only one place, Arib's own mind. But in that moment, he couldn't tell the difference. Has that ever happened to you? Someone says something ordinary, and your mind creates an entirely different story. Anger has a strange power. It blinds us. Fear has another power. It makes us see dangers that don't even exist. And disappointment? It convinces us that nothing will ever get better. When these three emotions work together, people make decisions they regret for the rest of their lives. That day, Arib made exactly that mistake. He could have stayed calm. He could have asked for clarification. He could have analyzed the criticism. Instead, he let his anger speak for him. In front of everyone, he publicly insulted his classmate. The room fell completely silent. No one said a word, yet that silence carried more weight than 1,000 voices. After that day, his professors looked at him differently. His friends slowly drifted away. And worst of all, the opportunity he had worked so hard for disappeared. Now ask yourself one question. Who really ruined Arib's future? His classmate or 5 minutes of uncontrolled emotion? That night, Arib couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the same moment in his mind. If only I had stayed quiet. If only I had waited 5 seconds. If only I had asked a question instead of reacting. But time never moves backward. Most of our deepest regrets aren't caused by bad decisions alone. They're caused by believing our emotions were telling us the truth. Maybe you're thinking about one of those moments right now. A decision that still hurts. A relationship you lost. An opportunity you let slip away. Words you wish you could take back. But what if your emotions were lying to you that day? What if you blamed the wrong person? And what if the greatest enemy in your life has never been someone else, but your own uncontrolled emotions? Fortunately, this isn't where Arib's story ends. A few days later, he meets someone who asks him just one simple question. A question powerful enough to transform his entire life. And perhaps it might transform yours too. The one question that changed Arib's life. Several days had passed since that incident. Arib still went to the university, but nothing felt the same anymore. The friends he used to spend hours laughing, we've now walked past him with nothing more than a polite smile. One wrong decision. Just a few minutes of anger. He had never imagined it could cost him so much. But here's the question. Can a single moment really change an entire life? Oh, does one moment simply reveal who we truly are? That afternoon, Arib was sitting alone in the small garden behind the university library. His head was lowered. He hadn't slept well for days. Only one thought kept repeating in his mind. Am I really such a terrible person? Just then, an elderly man quietly sat beside him. He wasn't a professor, yet people often saw him around the campus. Everyone respected him, but he rarely spoke. After a moment of silence, he asked, "Do you still believe your anger was right that day?" Arib said nothing. The old man asked another question. Do you know the biggest mistake people make when they're angry? Arib slowly shook his head. The man replied calmly, "They mistake their feelings for the truth." Those words stopped Arib in his tracks. The old man picked up a glass filled with muddy water. He asked, "If I asked you to look at your reflection in this water, could you see your face clearly?" "No." "Why not?" "Because the water is cloudy." Exactly. When your mind becomes clouded by anger, fear, or disappointment, you no longer see reality. You only see the reflection of your emotions. For the first time, Arib began to realize something. Maybe the problem wasn't the world. Maybe the problem was inside him. The old man asked another question. "Do you know who the strongest person in the world is?" Arib thought for a moment. The richest person? The most powerful? The smartest? The old man smiled and shook his head. "No, the strongest person is the one who doesn't immediately believe, their very first emotion." Those words hit Arib deeply, because he suddenly realized something. All his life, he had trusted every emotion without question. When anger appeared, he believed it. When fear appeared, he believed it. When disappointment appeared, he believed that too. But never once had he stopped to ask, "Is this actually true? Or is it just a story my mind is telling me?" The very next day, Arib decided to change. He didn't learn a magical technique. He didn't discover a secret formula. Instead, he built one simple habit. Before making any important decision, he asked himself one question: am I making this decision from emotion or from reality? It sounded almost too simple. Yet, that single question slowly began changing his life. A few weeks later, another opportunity arrived. Another team project. And once again, the same classmate criticized his work. Immediately, Arib felt the familiar wave of anger. His fists tightened. His heart began to race. Everything felt exactly the way it had before. But this time, he didn't respond immediately. He stayed silent for 5 seconds. Then he asked himself one simple question: is what I'm feeling the whole truth? Suddenly, everything changed. He realized that criticism wasn't a personal attack. It was simply advice that could improve his work. For the first time, instead of reacting with anger, he smiled and asked, "How do you think I can make it better?" The entire room fell silent, because everyone expected the old Arab. Instead, they witnessed someone completely different. From that day on, everything slowly began to change. His professors trusted him again. His friends started talking to him again. But more importantly, Arib began seeing himself differently. He finally understood something most people never do. The hardest battle in life isn't against other people. It's against the emotions inside your own mind. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you said something in anger that kept you awake all night? When was the last time fear made you walk away from an opportunity that could have changed your life? When was the last time disappointment convinced you, "I'm not good enough"? But what if those emotions weren't telling you the truth? What if they were nothing more than stories created by your own mind? Then ask yourself, do you want to remain a prisoner of those stories? Or will you start questioning your emotions today? Because the person who learns to master their emotions doesn't just change their decisions. They change their future. And that is where the journey of true inner strength begins. In the next episode, we'll discover why our brains often trust owed emotional wounds more than present reality, and how those invisible scars silently control the decisions we make every single day.